We always say that there's only one nation. I always tell everyone that Raider Nation is built different. Well, guess what? Every single one of our chat sports shows, Cowboys, Bears, 49ers, Dolphins, so on and so forth, are about to make the exact same video that I am. And they're all going to ask for their audience to like the video, which is fine and all. I don't only just want to beat Cowboys. I don't only just want to beat Bears, Dolphins. I want to take all of their numbers, combine them, and I want the Raiders report to still win. If you got my back, if you're a real one out there, and if you're excited for some Raiders football, like this video right now. Raider Nation, what's going on? You're watching the Raiders Report, and today's show is presented by the Boom Fantasy app. If anybody out there like me is a fantasy junkie, then get started with Boom at the link that you see below, chatsports.com/boom. That link is going to be available for you all in the comments and in the description of today's video, and I'll tell you about how awesome of the deal is just a little bit later on. So before we get into my record prediction, where I not only have a new record prediction, yeah, I do, a new one, and I'm going to tell you the projected scores for every single one of these games. It's a friendly reminder that this is the Raiders' schedule. We'll quickly cycle through all of this. As a friendly reminder, we're going to be doing watch parties for every single one of these games, so if you're not planning to go to Allegiant Stadium and you want to hang out with Raider Nation, you want to get down with the best fans in all of sports, we will be doing live shows for every single one of these. So all I tell people to do, though, is be ready, because if I drink, I want you guys to have a cold one with me. That is, if you are over the age of 21. So before you think about it, like, man, those tickets, they're super expensive. I get it. I promise you, we got you covered. But let's look at the AFC West odds. I love underdog story, because every single time that this team has had their back up against the wall, they've come out and they've shown everyone wrong. And at plus 600, dude, I'm telling you right now, I'm freaking licking my chops at these AFC West odds. So if you're a real one, if you rep the shield, spam Raiders right now. This is our year. When I was out in California the other weekend, shout out to my guys, Graphic Raider, shout out to Halo, shout out to Andy, all those amazing dudes who we were rocking with, Hammer. I talked to crazy amount of people, and everyone was like, this is our year, man. It feels different. Well, Daniel Jimenez, I see you. Dino, I see you. If you think that this is our year, spam Raiders right now. I'll tell you what, I already got Chargers fans blowing up my DMs, talking crap. The fact that they're not going to let Gorilla into this game pisses me off alone, and I'm hoping that the Raiders go on the road in Los Angeles. Let's be real, it's going to be 80% Raider fans at that game, and this is a hell of a matchup. We had Week 18 game last season. Derek Carr, I'm going to do this to Chargers fans. And if you don't know, then you don't know. Raiders win 34-32. We took care of business in Week 18. We're going to take business here in Week 1. Raiders so far 1-0. Also, you'll be able to see down there following along with me with my record predictions. Let's go to Week 2. And hopefully, the next time that the Raiders play against, or I guess I shouldn't say the Cardinals, the next time the Raiders play, I want them to be playing at Arizona's field. Why? That's where the Super Bowl is at, and that's the ultimate goal every single season. No DeAndre Hopkins in this game. That means you're going to get the bad version of Kyler Murray. The Kyler Murray that probably should spend 4 hours every single week studying the game film, because I don't think he does it anyway, and he's kind of a baby. So give me the Raiders to win this game 27-17, so we're off to a 2-0 start. Last season, the Raiders started 3-0. Are they going to go 3-0 again? The first time I did my projection video, I had the Raiders losing to the Tennessee Titans. Guess what? Not anymore. 30-21. And the reason? Anytime you lose a big-time player, and for those who do not know, the Titans lost Harold Landry, who led the team with 12.5 sacks last season. The only thing that I'm really worried about is the running game and how the Raiders' offensive line handles the Titans up front seven. I'm not really that much worried as I was, and if the Raiders can get a lead, and then Ryan Tannehill's got to beat us, I'm okay with that. So, yeah, Raiders, 3-0. Let's go to Week 4. This is a big one. Denver Broncos, Russell Wilson, he just got himself a fat new contract, and I said this, man, it's a lot of money to give somebody who's going to finish last in the AFC West every single season. The last 4 games the Raiders have played against the Broncos, They have won all of them. The last 7 games, Raiders are 6-1. Guess what? 5 straight wins for the Silver and Black. This is going to be a nail-biter, though. I think every single AFC West game this upcoming season, it's going to be one where you're like, man, I got an extra few gray hairs on my head, down there, just literally everywhere. Raiders, though, 4-0. I know, 4-0, it sounds crazy. So hit that subscribe button. I want you to be partying with me the entire season. I got a lot of energy, and I'm going to bring that energy. If you miss Oakland tailgates, if you miss Los Angeles tailgates, if you can't make it out to a Las Vegas tailgate, we're bringing the tailgates to you here on the Raiders Report. Live watch parties for every single game, so hit that subscribe button. Let's go to the next game now. This is a big one. Monday Night Football up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Not that I don't think the Raiders can compete, but in Arrowhead does make me a little bit nervous coming off a big-time win against the Broncos. So for that reason, I am going to take the Chiefs in this game in a 35-32 game. I do think that the Silver and Black are going to carry a little bit of a chip on their shoulder considering the fact of how bad the last 2 games went against KC last year. So as it stands right now, the Raiders' record is at 4-1. So then you play the Chiefs, you play the next best team in the NFL. Houston Texans led by Davis Mills. I'll tell you, I like Dameon Pierce. He's an interesting running back. They have some good wide receivers. But does anybody really fear this team whatsoever? No. Yeah, exactly. I didn't think so. I should also mention the Raiders had a Week 6 bye, so we went from Week 5 to Week 7. Raiders, though, flipped the score 31-13 over the Texans. We're now 5-1. Let's go to Week 8. We're going to march down to New Orleans. And this is a scary game to me because anytime you go into New Orleans, it can get interesting really, really quick. They've added some good pieces like a Jarvis Landry. They have the Honey Badger, but you know what? They straight up just got fleeced, trading away Chauncey Gardner-Johnson for what they did, which I actually think is going to hurt their defense a lot more than what people actually believe. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Raiders win 24-17 to go to 6-1. Not that I can't believe that the Raiders can beat the Saints because I think that they're a better team. But a 6-1 start, woo-wee, man, I don't know. That's awfully rich for my blood. And if you're trying to get richer, get started with the Boom Fantasy app because today's show is presented by them. One of my buddies owns this company, and I'm really, really excited to be able to work with them. I'm a fantasy junkie, and I think you all are going to absolutely love this app. So why should you get started? The Boom Fantasy app, y'all, it is back, and it's better than ever. So, now in the live app store and in 26 states, Boom Fantasy has the only daily fantasy sports game where you can win 40 times your entry every single night. Boom Fantasy is bringing you the best lines for player props, like you can see on screen, in the business, and is the fastest and easiest DFS app out there. Now, for new users, get a 100% bonus on your first deposit. Now, and get in the game. Click the link in the video description and get started, or search Boom Fantasy on the App Store and get in the game today. So, if y'all want to be able to find it a little bit easier, I took it upon myself. I've gotten started. I've already started to tinker around with the app, and I know this. I'm going to take Derek Carr to beat Justin Herbert. I'm going to take Josh Jacobs, Darren Waller, Devontae Adams. Give me the over on all of those bad boys. The link again, y'all, is chatsports.com/boom. It's going to take you to the App Store, and then you can download the app from there. Let's go to Week 9 up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Remember, y'all, the Raiders right now are 6-1 on my projections. Well, we're going 3. We're going to win this game by 3 and going to 7-1. I watched the NFL Hall of Fame game, and even our backups, which we played some starters, handled Jacksonville, I thought, pretty well. Now, sure, they didn't play a lot of their players either. I do think the Jags could be a sneaky team this season. Their offense doesn't scare me too much, but they actually do have some pretty legit talent on the defensive side of the football, which means now we're Week 10. We're sitting here 7-1. You're probably the best team in the AFC. What worries me, though, still about this Raiders team is the defensive interior line. And the Colts have the best, if not top 3 running back in the National Football League right now with Jonathan Taylor. You got a brand new quarterback in Matt Ryan. And a lot of times when you get that winning streak, sometimes you lose a game that, let's just face it, maybe the Raiders shouldn't lose. So for that, I got them losing this game to the Indianapolis Colts. For whatever reason, Las Vegas, underneath Derek Carr, over the past 3 seasons, has started out great, Then they've hit a little bit of a rut, and actually I kind of anticipate the same thing at 7-2. Then you go to Denver. Then you got to go to Mile High. That's never an easy game whatsoever. And in this division, which I really truly believe is going to go down in history as one of the greatest divisions of all time, it is loaded from top to bottom, offense, defense. It's really hard to sit up here and say the Raiders are going to go through and they're going to sweep this division. So for that, I am going to take the Broncos to win this game 31-30. If that happens, that means that the games essentially, I had the Raiders winning by 1 and the Broncos winning by 1. Russell Wilson's tough to beat 2 times in a year. Derek Carr is 0-2 against him in his career, but that now puts us at a 7-3 record, which is still pretty impressive. If you want to be able to interact with me during the entire season, because when I'm doing those live watch parties for these games, we're going to have 100,000. Last year, the Chargers game that ended in Week 18, 165,000 views. We're going to be chugging beers live on the show, so if you want to hop on the screen with me, follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram, and we are going to start doing a lot more giveaways. We're going to be doing 50-50 raffles via my Venmo. So, add me as a friend at MitchellRents365. Literally, you can find me there everywhere. MitchellRents365. Let's go to Week 12. Up against the Seattle Seahawks in a rocking environment. You can say what you want about Seattle. I believe that they could be the worst team in the National Football League this upcoming season. However, no Russell Wilson. I don't know if it's going to be Geno Smith or Drew Lock. I hope it's Drew Lock, because Raiders feast on that man right there. So give me the silver and black to win this game, 27-16. This one to me is not really ever going to be close. If Seattle does have Rashad Penny, that might change it a little bit. That dude's just never been healthy, though, his entire career. 8-3 record right now for the Raiders. Now, at home, up against the Chargers. I know some of y'all are going to get mad at me for this prediction, but guess what? I don't really care. It's one of those things where it's hard to be able to split in this division, and one of the top reasons why I'm going to take the Raiders in Week 1, I don't know if J.C. Jackson's going to be out there. I don't know, man. But if Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa are healthy during this game, this will be a tough one for the Raiders. So for that, they lose. They go to 8-4. So as you can tell, they just lost that one. And now you're going up against the defending Super Bowl champs, the Los Angeles Rams. I do think that the Raiders can hang tough with them. But our offensive line, if it's not adjusted, good luck trying to defend Aaron Donald. And Jalen Ramsey, he's a very difficult matchup for anybody he goes up against. And that team is loaded still. I'm going to take the defending champs at 32-21, which then puts the Raiders' record at 8-5. Let's go to Week 15. All headlights are going to be on this one, man. When you looked at the joint practices, the preseason game, it was Josh McDaniels versus Bill Belichick. Personally, from every report I saw, Raiders dominated joint practice. They really dominated that preseason game, and it was Raiders' second and third stringers up against Patriots starters. So if that's how that went, give me the Raiders in this one, man. 28-14. I think they're going to handle them pretty easily, get out to an early lead. If you got to make Mac Jones beat you, he's not good enough, in my personal opinion, to end up beating you. So for that, Raiders sitting at 9-5. We got 3 more games to go to, but is anybody actually going to go to a Raiders game this season? Do you plan on going to a game on the road? I know the nation spreads far and wide, and when the Raiders play on the East Coast, you live in the East Coast, are you going? All I want to know is, are you going to a game? And if anybody's interested in doing some giveaways, like you want to give away one of your tickets to somebody who's a loyal watcher, I would be more than honored to accept that ticket and give it away here on the Raiders Report. So let me know, which games are you going to? Some of my friends, since I'm from Pennsylvania, they're actually going to be going to this game here, and it's Raiders on the road against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me just say this. This game to me is probably going to be a cold game the day before Christmas. And every single year, there seems to be a game, usually against the Giants, lucky we don't play them this year, on the East Coast that the Raiders should win. This to me just has to be a loss. And it sucks saying that because I do think that they're a better team. But when I did my projections, I had to be honest, right? Because realistically, I could have been like, Raiders, 17-0. I think that they could win literally every game. But every year the Raiders lose a game that they shouldn't. This, to me, is probably going to be that game against Pittsburgh in a cold one. Let's go to Week 17. This is right now the most expensive game per ticket in the NFL right now, and it's New Year's Day, 2023, 49ers in Las Vegas against the Raiders. This one's going to be an incredible experience. If anybody's going, this might be the top game to go to. But give me the Raiders to win this one, 21-20. The 49ers defense does scare me. It's one of the best defenses in the league. Personally, I think you could see Jimmy Garoppolo playing by this time. I'm not a Trey Lance believer. The Raiders win this one. So as it stands right now, the Raiders are 10-6. This is the game that not only is going to decide the AFC West, I think that this could decide which team is a potential 2, maybe 3 seed. Hell, you could even end up being a 1 seed. So for that reason, I told you we're splitting with the AFC West. We lost to the Chiefs on the road. We're going to beat the Chiefs again. If the Raiders can do everything that they did last season, go on that 4-game winning streak, and if they're clicking on all cylinders and they're healthier, because right now, the Raiders' defense is better than the Chiefs' defense. The Chiefs' defense is not all that great. They lost Tyreek Hill. You give Josh McDaniels, Patrick Graham, all those extra days to be able to prepare for a team that they already played up against on Monday Night Football, that's going to be a win. Raiders win 35-31 and end the season with an 11-6 record. So what do you think, y'all? Predict the Raiders' 2022 record if you made it this far in the video. I'm going to be looking what you guys have to say. I know for a while I've been saying 10-7. I went through it, though. I did the schedule again. I'm an honest man. 11-6 is my prediction. And if you notice the thumbnail, there's a Lombardi. That's the ultimate goal.